I'm getting ready to fit the new Pirelli Scorpion onto the front wheel of my Crf230f. Same tyre as the original one here, 80-100-21, and this one is the same, 80-100-21. So plenty of good tread and knobbles on this one, and this one here of course is pretty well finished. Yeah, I got my rim tape there, tube. I've removed the Schrader valve and bled the air out, removed the nut here off my rim lock. I've broken a bead. I break the bead by just walking around the edge of the tyre, then I flip it over and then walk around the edge again. That breaks the bead normally pretty easily. Be pretty stubborn if that doesn't do it. I do it the old way. My tyre levers here. This curved one is fantastic. That really does deals with a lot of tricky situations. I recommend you have at least one of those. And these smaller ones here I normally just clip under the spokes, just to keep my progress around the edge of the tyre. Easy to remove the wheel off these bikes. Just loosen these here off and undo the axle. It just is threaded into this side. Pull the axle out, drop the wheel out carefully. Got to remember not to touch the brake. Shouldn't have any problems if we don't touch the brake, and then just slip my wheel back in again later. I'm going to buy a new disc. The disc is pretty worn, so I'm going to get one of those. And I've got new wheel bearings as well, which I'm going to be fitting into the wheel. There's my new bearings, and part number for the bearings. Here's the part number there. I find that these all balls are excellent to work with. Perfect fit. Never had any problems with them so far. So I'm not anticipating any problems with this. I'll just tickle out the seals, punch the old bearings out, and then I normally use a socket, the right size for the outer section of the bearing. Don't want to, I beg your pardon, on the inner side of the bearing, so that I don't put any pressure on the actual ball race itself. I think I've got a piece of tube that I normally use. I'll have to dig that out when I get closer to that part of the job. So yeah, that's a little update. I've fitted the airbox back in again and fitted new bolts everywhere. Adjusted the chain. Just little things for now. I will be replacing the sprockets and chain at some stage, but I just thought I'd tidy that up a little bit while I was working down there at that end. So you're happy now that I've got nice new bolts everywhere. Corrosion has been a big issue for me. I've had to use my grinder to remove some of the old bolts that were just totally rusted solid. Removed all those, punched them out and replaced them with stainless steel bolts, and grease and anti-seize everywhere, so I shouldn't have that problem again. I'm going to be a lot better with the way that I treat the bike anyway, because in the past I believe the farmer just rode it and just left it outside, or just left it covered in mud and didn't really have any give it any attention at all, to be honest. Actually, it just goes to show how strong these bikes are, because it's stood up to pretty poor maintenance since 2008, and it's still in pretty good nick really, now that I've gone and replaced a few parts like the handlebars, etc. So yeah, that's a little update on where I am at the moment. Like to really put a big shout out and thanks very much for my new subscribers. Yeah, just can't believe how those numbers have grown recently. I really do appreciate you joining my little channel. Pretty much an amateur at all of this, but I do appreciate it. It sort of gives me heart and just gives me the gives me purpose and putting together these little videos. basically showing you that any person with the right tools can do these jobs. I always find the stand here really handy for working on the bike. It allows you to very easily jack up the front end or the back end depending on what end you're working on. Just move it to one part of the centre or the other, and it just makes it so much easier to do the job. So I'm not anticipating any real trouble stretching this tyre on. I'll do that tomorrow, pump it up with air again once I've got the bearings all done, and I'll fit it into the bike again. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you a little bit later on.